Hey everybody. Okay, so I apologize for the late video today. Sorry, I'm fucking cold. My dad needed a quick how-to on how to use Zoom and how to upload things to YouTube, and I think I'm more stressed now that I tried to teach him than I was before when he was, completely unknowing and technologically impaired. Sorry. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Today is the first day that I feel completely stressed out of my mind over this situation. I'm sure that many of you can empathize with that. I'm sure that you're all feeling very stressed between possibly working, taking care of, other family members, taking care of yourself, making sure that, your schoolwork is done and everything else. And, on top of being essentially, stuck inside your house, you're not allowed to leave. What else are we going to do? So anyway, today I'm totally feeling stressed. My kid's already a pain in my ass. It's 11:30 as I'm making this video. He's eaten 3 different snacks and I'm going to strangle him. Okay, so before I get into Acts 4 and Acts 5 of Taming of the Shrew, just a quick reminder that your topic for your research paper is due tonight. Oh my God. Your topic is due tonight. Wednesday, you have your final short essay due. And then Friday, even though we have off, just if we want to stay on top of things, just submit your thesis statement. That's all I need is a statement on a piece of paper, okay? I will be putting up a video on Wednesday on how to do your thesis along with a PowerPoint. So if you're not sure yet how to do it, please don't fret. I will help you as much as I can. Also, because Friday is no school, I won't have open office hours unless you need them. Please tell me if you need them. Lucy, come here. So my husband is sleeping because he worked night shift last night, and my dog likes to sleep with him during the day. So she had to go to the bathroom, so she was out, and now she wants to go back in the bedroom, but the door is shut, and dogs don't have opposable thumbs. What the hell? So she can't open the door, so she's barking to be let in. So I'm going to get an angry text probably in about 2 minutes that, I didn't hear her or something like that. So anyway, so Friday is no office hours unless you need to talk to me. You still have off. I don't really understand. I do understand and I don't. Like, we're not at school, so there's what are we closing for then? But it is what it is at this point. Okay, so come here, Luce. Last video, I talked a little bit about Act 4. Kate and Petruchio go back to Petruchio's house, okay? And on his way there, he had sent Grumio ahead of him to get the servants ready and to get, the house essentially ready. So, sorry, I thought I heard something. So Grumio goes ahead and he says, they're coming, we have to get the food, we have to, start the fire, do this. So he does that and everything's fine. Kate and Petruchio arrive at the house, everything is, okay, but now where's dinner? Dinner's not ready. And like I said, they had made this great spread and Petruchio kind of dangles it in front of Kate and then says, wait a second, it's burnt, you can't eat this, and takes it away. Same thing when she says, I want to go to bed. Okay, he brings her up there and he's like, this is your bed. Oh, look at it, wait a second, it's too dirty, and strips the bed of all of its linens and says we need new linens and forces her to stay awake. So in his mind, the way that he's going to tame Kate into accepting her role as a wife is by killing her with kindness. He's going to dangle all of these things in front of her, but just out of reach, so that she has to, Petruchio realizes that Kate has to adapt to her new role as wife if she wants to, essentially survive and be happy. She has to accept that this is now her role. She doesn't get to be an independent person. She can be independent, as we all can, but she has to learn how to be independent while being dependent, if that makes any sense. Okay, so that's essentially Act 4 scenes, like 1, 2, in a nutshell, okay? So the other part in Act 4, Scene 2 is between Hortensio, Lucentio, Bianca. Hortensio is told basically, like, go away, I don't like you, by Bianca, and Bianca chooses Lucentio, who then eventually will have to come clean about who he is. So that leaves us then to Act 4, Scene 3. Okay, so now it has been a few days that Kate really hasn't gotten much food, hasn't gotten much sleep. She asks, please, Grumio, please go get me something to eat. And he refuses because they are all depriving her. The entire house, the whole staff is in on Petruchio's plot to kill her with kindness and deprive her of all of these things, because it's the only way to tame her, is taking everything she ever, you know, her needs all have to not be met in order for her to become a nice person. Okay. So now the tailor is coming for them to get ready for Bianca's wedding. Okay. So she doesn't get to eat, and the tailor, you know, prepares this beautiful and expensive clothes for their journey back to Baptista's house for the wedding of Bianca and Lucentio. And everything that Kate likes, Petruchio says, I don't like that. This is a great color. It's an ugly color. This is beautiful. It's ugly. So everything that she likes, he disagrees to. And now this is going to come back in the next part of it, okay? So the tailor is kind of like, what the hell's going on between you two? Like, why can't you agree on this? And Petruchio puts fault on the tailor for poor craftsmanship, and Kate tries to entreat him that it's not you, you're doing a great job, and, you know, whatever. But Petruchio then secretly, after he tells the tailor to leave, pulls him aside and says, like, thank you, you're still getting paid. Like, relax. You know, this was all a ploy. And then Petruchio tells Kate that they're just going to leave for Padua, Baptista's house, in the clothes that they already have. So it's fine. Okay. And he says, we're going to leave at noon. This is a big part. Okay. We're going to leave at noon. And she goes, but noon already passed. And he goes, no, it hasn't. It's whatever time I tell you it is. And this is really a turning point for Kate, because Kate now starts to learn how to play the game. Okay. There, you know, Act 4, Scene 5 is pretty simple, that they're going to have a marriage in a church nearby. Okay. Lucentio wants to elope with Bianca, and they quickly leave. And that's kind of that. All right. So now if we go to Act 5. Act 5 is probably my favorite act out of the whole thing, because it really is a nice culmination of the entire play. Just bear with me, okay? So, oh, right there, I forgot there was an Act 6. Whoops. Okay, so I'm sorry. In Act 4, Scene 6, I totally thought that was the beginning of Act 5. Act 4, Scene 6 is the journey from Petruchio's house back to Padua, okay? And on this journey, anything that Kate says, Petruchio says the opposite, and vice versa. Okay, so he is saying it's midday, and she goes, it's midnight. What are you talking about? Or it's hot. I say it's cold. I say it's raining. I say it's not. And that this keeps going until finally Kate kind of picks up that, oh, like I should be agreeing with him instead. And as soon as that happens in the film, which I still have to attempt to record, you can see like almost like a twinkle in Petruchio's eye, like, oh, she gets it. Great, excellent, this is working. So she finally, she finally concedes and into her role for the most part. But it's what it is that gets her and gets him is he says it's the sun, she says it's the moon, and he says, but I say it's the sun. She finally goes, well, then I agree it's the sun. Well, I say it's the moon. Then I too agree it is the moon. So that's when she has that moment. They pass somebody on their way to Padua who is actually Lucentio's father, which is going to throw off like a whole plot line, which is why it's a comedy. Because if you remember, Lucentio is dressing up as his servant Hortensio. Okay? No, yes. And it's going to really throw things off because of what is happening. So anyway, now we can go into Act 5. Okay. Excuse me. So the priest is now ready to marry Bianca and Lucentio. He's no longer disguised. Okay. He has come clean about who he is to at least Bianca. Petruchio and them enter. You know, there's a great crowd that shows up for the wedding. But Vincentio, who is Lucentio's dad, arrives. And he says who he is, but there was somebody else that was posing as Lucentio's dad. So now it's, well, which one's the right dad? We don't know. So they go to take Vincentio, the real father, to jail. And Lucentio and Bianca have to stop them and say, no, he's my real dad. Sorry, like this is what we did. We pretended to be this person so that we could get Bianca to like us and blah, blah, blah. So at the church, at the marriage, they have to come clean with everything that has happened. And Kate and Petruchio are standing there with their jaws on the floor like, what the hell? Okay. So everything that starts to happen, you know, here is really the ultimate culmination of, is Kate tamed? Okay. I can't. Petruchio asks Kate to kiss her or to kiss him, and she says no, that she would be too ashamed, and it happens. She also, you know, up until this point, there has been no physical contact. There's been no consummation of the marriage, and we see that only from the movie version. And it is pretty implied that he's trying to kill her with kindness, but he does, to an extent, respect Kate. There is that line of, you know, understanding that in order to tame somebody, you still have to be somewhat respectful of them. And he does realize that Kate never really wanted to marry him. She was kind of forced into it. So if she's going to eventually, and that was pretty common for back in that time. But if she's going to learn to like him and learn to live with him, then they've got time to consummate that marriage. So they don't have to, you know, he's not going to force her into that, because that's just going to push her farther away and make her hate him more. Whereas I think right now she just sees that he is trying to be the controlling husband. Okay, sorry. So, okay. So there's a huge celebration to celebrate the 3 marriages that have happened. Okay, so it's Petruchio and Kate's marriage. So basically it's now a big wedding reception. Lucentio and Bianca, and then Hortensio married a random widow that he was just like, hey, you look good, let's hitch up. Okay, so they're sitting there eating and enjoying their time, and Kate argues with the widow. Now, this is something where they can say, you did not tame that shrew. But Bianca ends up calming everybody down, and the wives go off and they chat with one another. Meanwhile, now that the 3 husbands are left alone, they decide, let's put a wager and let's see if, you know, who has the most obedient wife. Okay, now everybody full-heartedly knows and believes that Petruchio is going to 100% lose because of such a shrew that he had married. Okay, Kate was somebody that just did not obey any type of order. If you know, she was if I say it's the sun, it's the moon. Okay, she didn't do anything. If I tell you can't do it, she's going to do it. Okay, so they want to see who's going to be the most obedient. And they put a fair amount of money on this wager. So what happens is the first one, each one of them is going to send for their wife. And whoever's wife obeys first is going to be the winner, which I don't really think is fair, because what if the first one, you know, what if the first wife obeys? You have no idea about those second 2. It doesn't seem very fair, but anyway. So Lucentio sends Biondello, one of the servants, to go get Bianca, confident that she is going to be the one to say, oh, yes, I obey. Okay. And Biondello returns and said that she is busy and she won't come. So now that is she doesn't obey. So now Hortensio tells Biondello, go get my wife, and is met with a very similar response. Finally, Grumio, who is, as we know, Petruchio's servant, says, please go get Kate, and she comes back, and everybody is in awe. They are shocked that Kate came when called, because back prior to Petruchio, she never would have showed up. Okay, so she obeys. She comes over, and Petruchio says he doesn't like her hat and says, take it off, and she obeys. Bianca and the widow are now, or not, I really guess we shouldn't call her a widow. Bianca and Hortensio's no-named wife are shocked. They are shooketh, okay, because they can't believe what they're seeing. So at this point, there's kind of two different versions. It's either that Petruchio tells Kate to talk to them about what it means to be a wife and to obey, but then there's also that Bianca and Hortensio's wife are laughing at Kate at her obedience, and it kind of throws her into a fit to say it's our duty. It is a duty to a husband to obey. Okay, she mimics that the duty is the subject owes the prince. So she would be the subject and the prince would be Petruchio or Lucentio or Hortensio. So she knows and says, I might not have been tamed and I might have been haughty, but I'm not, and I see the error in my ways, and you have to be obedient. So if my husband wants to give me a foot, then I put out my hand and hope he takes it or something. I can't remember exactly the line because I'm not looking at it. But everybody is shocked. And at the end of this, there's a big kiss between Kate and Petruchio. And this is where we now can wonder, is she truly tamed or is she playing a game like Petruchio? So Petruchio's game was kill her with kindness. But now, is she doing it back to him? Okay, so I'm going to real fast. Just pull up those pictures for you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, so this was one of the pictures that I've been including for you guys to give you like a easier than SparkNotes version. Okay, so this number 16 is when they do that travel to Padua. Okay, and then number 15, is the beginning of the taming with the tailor. All right, so then we'll move on to the next one. Whoopsies, sorry. Okay, let's see. Number 7, okay, share. Okay, so they run into an old man on the way back to Padua, who is Lucentio's dad. Okay, and then number 18 is fake Lucentio. Tranio is still following orders, pretending to be the boss. Okay, they get married in secret. Everything happens. Who can stay mad with, news like there's 3 different weddings happening? And they talk about how a big speech, the wager between the 3 husbands, and that Kate wins it for Petruchio, and he says, come and kiss me, Kate, and then she does, and then that's that. Okay, so with that all said, my questions to you are, is she truly tamed or is she playing a game? Is she faking it or is she really truly tamed? Oops, hold on. I'm trying to bring up your essay questions because like I said, on Wednesday you have an essay due, a short essay. It's your last one, okay? So one of the questions that you can definitely answer is Kate tamed or is she faking? Okay, with that said, hold on. I'm sorry, I should have had this up already, but I didn't. So I apologize. Where is it? Nope. Here we go. Share screen. Share. Okay. Okay, so here we go. For Taming of the Shrew, how do gender roles affect the attitudes of the characters? Okay, so Kate is somebody who should be following the stereotypical role of a wife and want a husband in the beginning, and she's very stubborn. She doesn't want to. She's very independent. She doesn't like the idea of men controlling her. She doesn't like the gender role that is set for that time period. Okay, so how do these roles surface in the play? Most of the men have a idea of what a wife should be and what a wife should look like, how they should behave, but do they extend to all women? Is it not just their wife? Is it every woman should be subservient to them in particular? Okay, how do these women react? So, for example, Bianca laughs when the widow does not answer her new husband. She thinks it's funny, but now the husbands find it horribly offensive. Okay, are they systematically oppressed, or do they subtly balance the men's power? It is essentially a comedy, yet there are more serious questions about social issues and how it often overshadows the comic features. So how does humor function? Okay, the two wooing scenes by Petruchio and Lucentio. Why does Shakespeare include so many of the play's best comic devices in these scenes? Okay, so that's Act 2, Scene 1, and Act 3, Scene 1. So that's when Lucentio uses the Latin verse to tell Bianca that he loves her, and Petruchio just kind of tricks her, essentially. So then you can also analyze the characters Hortensio and Gremio, not Grumio, Gremio. Why do they fail where Petruchio and Lucentio succeed? What is different about them? So Hortensio and Gremio were both trying to get Bianca. So Lucentio won. However, Petruchio also won the heart of Kate. Not that either of them wanted Kate, but does their failure stem from reasons for wanting to get married or from other facets of their personalities? Okay, so the plots of the plays follow a certain pattern in which Act 3 contains a major turning point in the action and events that inevitably lead to the climax, or the climax and the wrap-up of the plot lines in the fifth and final act. How does it conform and deviate from this pattern? Okay, how substantially do the events of the third act, the marriage scene between Petruchio and Kate, and the wooing scene between Lucentio and Bianca affect the action of the rest of the play? Okay, so like what would happen if Petruchio and Kate never got married? Or if it was vice versa, if it was Lucentio and Bianca and Petruchio wooing Kate? Okay, then the other thing that you could do is a comparison between the play itself, Shakespeare's play, and the modern version of it, 10 Things I Hate About You. So they, for the most part, attempt to keep the names of the girls the same, but they don't keep the other characters the same because they really can't. There's some new characters that are introduced, but the plot is fairly similar. So you can do a compare and contrast in which one is better, and in which one is Kate seeming to be tamed versus maybe not. Okay, so I know that's a lot to take in. I know this was a fairly long video, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Okay, so you'll get a new video on Wednesday on how to do your thesis statements, and that will be that. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you're, maybe not as stressed out as I am. If I get another spam call, I might stab my phone. If you have questions, shoot me a text, shoot me an email. My notifications weren't on for whatever reason, so they're now on. Okay, so if you guys have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.